Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor, which is due unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakar Kadash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great most honorable well, and lead the flock by example. And shalom to the Lord's elect, okay, which is the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay, salvation is only for the nation of Israel. Okay, anyone that descends back to the man called Jacob in the scriptures, the Bible, whose name was changed to Israel. Okay, ultimately, we're going to be good in the kingdom. But amongst that chosen nation, okay, which, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and anyone scattered abroad that goes back to that lineage, okay, ultimately, we're the chosen nation, all right? But amongst that chosen nation, there's an elect, okay? Bit of a longer introduction than I usually do in the videos, but I had to say that. Okay, now, what I wanted to go into in this lesson, okay, was earthquakes and uproars of the people, which we're going to read now in 2nd Ezra 9. And what I did is I went in Google and I typed in earthquakes in one tab, and I went to news, and I went and I typed in protests or uproars in one of the other tabs, and went into news. Okay, because pretty much there's a lot of chaos going on around the world. There's a lot of unrest, and there's a lot of protests, okay? And pretty much, the Lord is actually kindling a fire here, because soon he's going to return, okay? And we're coming into a time where the scriptures describe it as a time like never before. Daniel's 12th chapter and the first verse, okay? Jeremiah 30:6 goes into what? Jacob's trouble. So we're going into that time, and things are just going to keep heating up. And, the people, the elites are, using psychological operations and different things to ignite the people. Now, I remember years ago, I'm going to read the scripture in a second. I remember years ago when I was, I'd say I was a teenager, and I'd have to try and see if I can find it now. It's difficult to find certain things on the internet these days, but I remember reading something called the Jesuit Manifesto. Now, the Jesuits, they're an organization. Okay, they call it the Society of Jesus. They're an organization that pretty much one of Esau's, kind of spiritual organizations, if you will, that, they're doing all kinds of, in their manifesto basically said that they would have people on both sides, which is then no different to different groups like the Masons and things like that. Okay, they had people on both sides as agents that were working towards a common goal. Okay, and that's how Esau plays. You got in the scriptures says. In fact, let me see if I can get that before I even read this. See, I had it in my head to read that, but let's go with it's gonna be in 13, isn't it? Yeah. Bear with me. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. Right, speaking about them two sides. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now, you got these political parties, for example, right? Let's use America as an example. Okay, you have the Democrats and the Republicans. Okay. Now, people think that they have a vote, they have a say, they pick this side or they pick that side, right? But this is the two horns of the same beast, essentially. Okay. Now it says like a lamb. A lamb is what? Meek. Okay. And that's how they present themselves. Like they're gonna help the people. They ain't gonna hurt the people. They're doing it for the people's good. But it says what? And he spake as a dragon. Because ultimately they're gonna do more and more draconian legislation. Okay, taking away more and more of your rights and getting harsher and harsher. Right. So the scripture that comes to mind is, okay, I got the search function. War. Wait, that's I don't need to do this. It's in Psalms 55. Man, what the hell? Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Okay, that's like these politicians, right? But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. That's how Esau moves. Okay, and he has different organizations and different tactics to bring about his agenda. Okay, his wicked agenda, which is this New World Order agenda. Okay, so let's go back to 2 Ezra 9. Okay, and read it. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And how does the Lord visit the world which the world which he made? Through the prophecies, through these judgments. Okay? Now ultimately, the prophecy states that Yahushua is going to return. Okay? And he is going to pay a visit, man. Okay? And unless you're of the elect of the nation Israel, it ain't going to be pretty for you. Okay? Because a lot of people are going to either end up dead or in slavery. That's what's going to happen. Okay? Because these heathen nations, they're going into slavery. And those of our people who are wicked and they don't bow to the Lord, they don't accept the Lord, they're not of the elect, they're going to get killed too. Okay? It says, Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Okay, it's already been prophesied. Right? Now, let's go to, right, so I had a tab that said news for earthquakes, right? Now, you had a big one in the Philippines, okay? It says here in one article on the BBC, at least 15 dead and 129 injured. Florida shaken by a 6.1 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Cuba. That was 3 days ago, The Guardian. Okay. Multiple earthquakes around 5.2 hit northern Evia. Okay, so there's been more and more earthquakes, man. Right, now I typed in protests. Okay, you got the Henry Nowak protests over here in the UK. Okay, you got the unrest that's going on over there in Belfast. Okay. You got more and more far right movements. Okay, protests over here in the UK. Right, this is Al Jazeera. It says violence escalates in Israel amid ultra-Orthodox military draft protests. So they got protests over there. Okay. It's funny because they had this World Cup. Okay, the Worldly Cup. In it says Mexico City. Right. It says petrol bombs, brick held at Mexican police during pre-match unrest at Azteca. Right, it says the protests overshadowed the excitement. So they've got protests over there, man. Right, now the scriptures tell us what? When you go to Proverbs, the 29th chapter and the 2nd verse, it says, When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Now the wicked, starting with the elite banking families, okay, like for example the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, they're really the ones that are ruling things behind the scenes. Okay, and because they're the wicked, everything, the vibration of the earth, everything that's being ruled over, okay, is wicked. Okay, But if the righteous were in authority, the people would rejoice. And in the kingdom, okay, the righteous is going to be in authority. All right? And we're going to be at rest. We're going to be at peace. And you know what? Even after these heathens serve their slavery, okay, not Esau, obviously, because we're going to get rid of him pursuant to Obadiah 1:18 after 1,000 years of hardcore slavery. But these different other heathen nations, okay, they're going to be in slavery, but afterwards they're going to be tributaries. And you know what? They're going to live in a world where it's governed by the laws of the Most High. They're going to live in a world where they can drink clean water, smell fresh air, clean air. Over here, you got chemicals being sprayed all the time. You got water being polluted, all kinds of pollution, man. Okay. So the earth. Now the scriptures say the earth abideth forever, but this man's doing everything he possibly can to mismanage the earth. Okay. So what are you gonna get? You're gonna get disease. You're gonna get death. He's the harbinger of death, man. That's what he does. He brings death. What's that in scriptures say he is as death? Habakkuk chapter 2. Verse 5, it says, "Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine," which is these philosophies that he pushes on the people. "He is a proud man," that's Esau, "neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell." Yeah, he goes everywhere, okay, and with the sword, this devil's everywhere, man, reaping all the resources, doing everything he possibly can. Now, really, a blessing was given to him to have a rule and to do that with the sword. Okay, back in Genesis, the 27th chapter. But the Israelites, okay, we have the superior blessing. Okay, we don't need to do with that. We've already been blessed by Yahweh Shemiel Shai. Okay, to have to be over everything. Okay, the earth was made for our sakes, as it is written. It says, "And is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." This guy's got a base everywhere, man. You got the U.S. military. They've got bases all over the world. Okay, the new Roman Empire. Now, ultimately, man, this devil, when the Lord returns, he's gonna have to pay for everything he's doing, including all these little psyops and everything he's doing. He's gonna have to pay. Okay, and as it is written, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. So we're watching what he's doing. We're keeping track of the news, and ultimately, we know that there's a lot of distractions, there's a lot of mayhem, there's a lot of chaos trying to be caused. Okay, the more chaos there is, the more civil unrest there is, the more that they can bring about legislation, laws, confuse the people, deceive the people. Okay, bring more boots on the ground. Okay. And ultimately push that microchip implant, which is the mark of the beast prophecy in Revelation 13 and 16. Okay, that's what this devil's trying to do. And they're very close. They're very close. But as close as they are to bring out that chip, okay, making it mandatory and all that, Revelation 13 and 16, that prophecy, just as close as Yahweh Shai returning. Okay. So, Lord willing, this has been an edifying lesson. And with that, man, I'm going to say shalom. Shalom to the Lord's elect.